What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys don't know how my reviews work, I like to talk about the good, the bad, and then give you my score. Today we are talking about Pacific Rim Uprising. First off, I'm a huge fan of the first Pacific Rim. It's not my favorite movie ever, but I really enjoyed the action. I love the scale. While the script wasn't the strongest thing I had seen that year, the entertainment value of that movie was off the charts, and I really enjoyed it. This movie was not directed by Guillermo del Toro. This was directed by Stephen DeKnight. So, of course, it's going to have a different feel to it. Was that feel disappointing, or was that feel up to Guillermo del Toro's standards? Well, we're talking good, so I'm going to start off with this. John Boyega, the guy he has so much charisma. I really enjoy his presence on screen. If there's one thing I can say Uprising does better than the first, I do think the lead role, not that Charlie Hunnam's a bad actor, he didn't do a horrible job in the first movie. I actually prefer John Boyega to him. I think he's a better lead. He was very charming. While he didn't get the time that I wanted his character to develop, I do think he carried this movie pretty well, and I really enjoyed his on-screen presence. Another thing that I liked is they bring back some characters that we know and love from the first one, and characters that I didn't even know that were going to be in this movie. While they don't really hit on why Charlie Hunnam wasn't there, they do hit on other characters like the scientists, and let me refrain, I don't want to give away too much, but I did enjoy that aspect of the movie. It was surprising. The ideas and the themes are in place here, and I like the fact that they took the movie in a different direction from the first movie. Of course, it's not the same director. You can't copy that formula. You need to do something different. And while I wasn't really super happy with the direction that they went, I do appreciate the fact that they did go in another direction, and I like Stephen DeKnight as a director. I think he has chops, and I think he's cut out for some very solid work in Hollywood. He's done a lot of TV things in the past, and I think he's killed it there. I don't think this was his shining movie moment, but I do think this will lead to better things. There are script problems for sure, but I will say I didn't have a problem with any of the lead actors or even the side characters. I thought they all did justice to their parts. I love seeing the scientists back. I didn't love where they went with their characters, but I do enjoy what Charlie Day and the other guy, I can't think of his name, I like what they do with those characters. And I hate to compare this to Transformers because, you know, everybody compared the first movie, but if we're comparing it to something like Transformers, the way that they do scale here, I think it really works in favor of Pacific Rim Uprising. I also think the humor here works so much better. I do think it worked better in the first hour as opposed to the last, but I think it works, and there are very good moments in this film. But for me, I just don't think the movie worked as a whole. If you're comparing it to the first one, and I'm sorry I have to do this, but it is a sequel to Pacific Rim, so I'm going to compare every aspect that worked for that movie kind of worked for this film, but on a level that I don't think hit as hard. The first one handles scale so well, and while this one does scale better than Transformers, I do think it was handled better than the first one. This one has so many bright colors, and it's vivid, and it's just a different direction, and while I appreciate that, like I said, I just don't think it came across towards a broad audience. I think this movie caters more towards children. Look, it has the entertainment value and the cheesy one-liners and the script that doesn't really measure up, and that's all fine and dandy, but the story was just so predictable. I called the villain immediately. As soon as you see something that happens, you know what's going to happen. The movie is set for you. Now, when you're with our lead girl and John Boyega's character, I do think there's some very good chemistry between them, but they just don't carry it out through the finale of the film. I think it was a lot more well done in the first act compared to the next two acts. The final act has its moments, and the battle sequences are really cool, but it feels a little rushed. They have these kids that they are training, and they're going to train them to be the best, but you don't really get to see them being trained. They're just thrown into the action. That feels really rushed. I thought it could have been something like Kingsman, but it turned out to be a little disappointing. And Scott Eastwood, he's just not impressed me yet. Everything I have seen him in, I'm like, yeah, he's okay, but he could have been better. Even though the movies aren't that good, he could still shine. He just doesn't, and he didn't do it again for me. I also had some real issues with the connections to the last movie. I said they hit on some of the characters. One character, and I don't think this is a spoiler, that they just never touched on is Charlie Hunnam's character. Where is he? What happened to him? Why is he not mentioned? I feel like that should be something that is mentioned, but it never is. Look, guys, I don't think this is a bad movie. I also don't think it is a really good movie. I think it's a fine, serviceable, if you will, sequel. I'm going to give Pacific Rim Uprising a 58%. It's on the borderline of fresh. I just can't quite get it there because it's kind of forgettable, and I feel like I'm not going to remember anything about it in the next couple of days. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. Today's comment spotlight comes in from Becca Crow. Thank you so much, Becca, for leaving this comment on my Tomb Raider review. I hope you saw the movie. I hope you really enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for commenting on all of my videos and leaving that thumbs up. It really helps. I appreciate everything you guys do. You are the absolute best. I will be back tomorrow morning for a brand new Netflix review. I will catch you later.